Good evening, everybody. My name is Lorenzo Galfo. I am a second-year business finance major.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chanel Artillo. I'm a third-year interior design major.
Thank you both so much. Your first question is, what do you value most when pairing two possible individuals for a lifelong relationship? Starting with Lorenzo.
I feel like when you pair two different types of people, it goes far more than just interests. You have to take into consideration multiple things such as personality types, how they work amongst other people, and many other factors that have to do with those things.
Just like through my vision, when it comes to pairing, it's all about iridescence. Seeing an outing and a kuyate in the light of different perspectives, and understanding more than just their interests, their personalities, but digging into who they are as a human being.
All right, your next question is, explain the type of camp environment that you would like to create for your term. Starting with Chanel.
A camp environment I would like to give during my term is a sense of home. When I first came to Sheshu, I was like extremely alone. I didn't have friends and I kind of kept to myself. So giving the opportunity to allow an outing to feel like they belong somewhere and to allow all Gen members, Kuyates, to feel like camp and Akban as a whole is somewhere that they can come to. Whether you're feeling lost, whether you have someone there, it's something that you'll always hold in your heart.
The camp program that I want to bring to everybody and to the general members is a program in which somebody can grow. Me coming to this organization, not even being able to look people in the eye similar to how I am with you guys, and joining internship and getting all the skills throughout that has really allowed me to grow into the type of person I am and made me want to bring all those experiences to other Gen members as well.
Thank you. Your next question is, if coordinator, do you plan on keeping family pairings? If so, how do you best plan to utilize them in the pairing process? Starting with Lorenzo.
Family pairings have obviously had a negative stigma since they were first introduced. But I'm here, and one thing that I really want to advocate is getting rid of that stigma. If someone comes into this organization already like not really needing a mentor, and they feel like they're already a mentor themselves, what is it? Why should we take that away from somebody? I feel like family pairings should still be something that should be implemented and for the years to come, rather than having to pair people that would not be compatible with themselves.
Time.
Fan pairings have been one of the most controversial topics that's been throughout Akban since I was a camp the last year. And it was something that started during Joseph's term. I do plan on keeping the fan pairings. It is a way that we, when I think of fan pairings, it's about transparency, understanding that this outing themselves feel that they're ready to be a mentor, that they hold the skills to mentor another person to grow to their best capability.
Thank you. Your next question is, what were the shortcomings of this year's program and what is your plan to fix them? Starting with Chanel.
A few shortcomings I've heard about is outings and Kuyates feeling like they weren't able to talk about how they felt about their pairing and feeling that they weren't seen in a different light. It's more of understanding why these outings feel that they're paired a certain way and explain to them how you feel that they can grow with their Kuyates, with their fam, and kind of teaching them the history of their fam to understand this is where you belong and this is how, let me understand and learn about what you value to understand how I can best further your growth.
Within camp, there's this disconnect between those people who pick up and then disappear until it is the next time to pick up. In a way, I see this as, the solution I see to this is incorporating a check-in between fam reps and the Kuyates themselves. Because many of the cases we get those people who pair, we get the information from fam reps, oh, they're doing well, or they're not doing very well. I saw them on Snapchat, but the only way you could really get this accurate information and get that bridge of intimacy from the fam reps themselves to it.
Thank you. Starting again with Lorenzo. With the program growing more and more social, how do you plan to reinforce the cultural importance behind the KAAMP program?
With the cultural importance of this program, I still feel like I need to work amongst the other pillars in utilizing fam reps to relay information of events that are going on just outside of KAAMP, and just being able to relay information to the Kuyates and Audings themselves, and maybe utilizing more of the social media to do that as well.
One way to continue and foster growth of our culture is actually I plan on implementing a Kamayan themed Thanksgiving. This is to remind Gen members that it's okay to indulge yourself in culture and to kind of see culture whether you feel like you don't belong in it. We're open to teaching you about what the Filipino community is about. For Kamayan, it's about eating with your hands, and why do we do this? Because it's a way that we connect. We feed each other because we love each other. We want each other to nourish and grow in a sense.
All right, starting with Chanel. Why do you think the candidate running against you is a more qualified candidate for this position?
When first meeting Lorenzo as a campita, and honestly, watching him grow and be able to come up here and present himself to even run for a position at such a young age shows that he's qualified to see where he belongs in Akbar and that he can showcase his true leadership skills. Whether I win or he wins, we're both out here kind of wanting to foster and continue to grow our organization in the best possible way.
I believe Chanel is more qualified because she does have those positions in amongst SJSU, in which she is an RA, and she have the ability to make those connections within her buildings and other buildings as well.
Starting with Lorenzo. Given the constant growth of the KAAMP program, how do you intend to split up duties among your core to prevent burnout and overworking?
One thing I would want to establish first is making a core who I know what their priorities are. Because what is a core if you cannot be present during the pairing as well? And so just doing that during my core picking process, and just making sure I could check in with them, because as tedious as KAAMP core is, everybody is a person first, and I need to make sure that the mental well-being of my core is up to par, because a more well-rounded core is a more efficient core.
Without your core members, you can't really do much with your position because everyone needs someone to rely on themselves on. As much as I would have my cab, I would need my core to be there. To have my core, I need to make sure that I'm transparent with them, understand their schedules, and make sure that I do at least monthly to weekly check-ins with them, making sure that they're best, that I'm there to provide for them and understand who they are. As much as I want someone to check in on me, I would want to check on them as well.
All right, starting with Chanel. This year we implemented an event requirement to join KAAMP. So what is your stance on this, having mandatory events to join our programs?
I believe with the KAAMP requirements, it helps with the fluctuating numbers of audience that join. And this is actually a way to help promote our workshops and continue to give the resources we need to not only just our audience, but our Gen members as a whole. This is a way to not just keep the KAAMP requirements and keep the fluctuating audience, but to promote our organization and what we're about and what we can give our Gen members.
Can you repeat the question, please?
This year we implemented an event requirement to join KAAMP. So what is your stance on having mandatory events in order to join this program?
My stance on this mandatory event is a positive one. I believe that this, like Chanel said, this event is not just simply to combat the rising increase of audience. It is also to like Alan said, quality through discovery is also like really important. Just to show that Akbayan is just more than this camp program, and we have a lot more to offer than just simply pairing.
For this next question, you are allotted 1 minute response. Name a past coordinator that you have asked advice from in regards to this position. How will you take their knowledge and implement it in your own vision? Sorry, Mr. Lorenzo.
During Joseph's year, that was one of the most increasing years of audings within the camp program. But one thing I do want to stress is like it is not the number of audings that you accumulate, like that you get that comes into the program during your year. It is the quality of the parents. It is the quality of the audings, and the more audings that come into this program, the harder it is to manage. So one thing that I do want to implement is Akbayan is one of the largest Filipino organizations, if not in California. Yet we are one of the only ones that have yet to transfer auditing surveys to digitally. With auditing surveys being digitally, it would lessen the space for human error. You could have the ability to edit your survey all the way up to your interview. Other things that could come from that is simply making the whole pairing process, rather than having to spend a whole day just scanning surveys, it would give us more time to just directly transfer over.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Name a past coordinator that you have asked advice from in regards to this position. How will you take their knowledge and implement it into your own vision?
I've tried my best to reach out to as many past coordinators before myself. I've reached out to, I was lucky enough to go to the alumni where I got to speak with Joseph, Alan, and Marco. And then I had my opportunities where I reached out to Nicole in the past and Warren as well. Talking to these members, I've learned that, to these coordinators, I've learned that when it comes to this organization and it's constantly growing, whether you're building a new requirement, establishing new ways to keep the CAMP program growing, it's all about flexibility and understanding where this organization is going at that time. Whether it's time to modernize a few requirements, whether it's continue growing the CAMP requirements and understanding how the FAMREP's roles can continue fostering.
All right, this will be the final question. So you will have 30 seconds to respond to this question, and we'll be starting with Chanel. So the question is, what would be your selection process for your core? And also name one person that you'd like to see apply and why.
To name one person I would want to see apply would be extremely hard for myself, because I would be limiting myself from keeping an open mind, and I would actually be going against my vision of seeing other perspectives of a person. When it comes to the course selection, I have to keep in mind different friend groups, schedules, and understanding who this person is now and where they're going to grow to be a year from then.
Can you repeat the question one time, please?
The question is, what would be your selection process for your core? And also name one person that you'd like to see apply and why.
The selection process that I want to have for my core is to make sure I know what this person's priorities are and how they feel about camp. How much passion do they actually have within camp? But one thing I do want to establish is that I want to have a core that can navigate amongst all social groups of Akbayan, while also not having. I also want people in my core who may have the good experiences, but it's also important for people to be in my core who may have not had the best experiences, and just allow the ideas of different perspectives to spread.
Thank you so much.